Hello Starcraft fans, this is Falcon Paladin coming to you with yet another daily Legacy of the Void upload. This is a game between CranK and JunTae on Ruins of Seras. In the bottom right side of the map, we have the red Zerg player who went random in this GM level replay. It is CranK. Representing Ducky? I haven't seen that before, but hey, that's pretty good. And in the bottom left side of the map, we have the blue Terran player representing no one. It is JunTae. I believe this is from the GM Korean ladder that CranK plays on. He also goes random and stays in GM, which again just shows how amazing of a player that he is. He recently did retire from being a professional level StarCraft 2 player, but he still plays a whole bunch. He has his own YouTube channel, which I'm going to go ahead and link at the top right here to check out more of CranK's replays, because he does fun stuff, man. He does battle cruiser rushes. He goes for like lurker drops. He'll go rushing to carriers. I mean, he'll do anything that is entertaining for his subscribers, and I really like him a lot. He's a funny dude too, so here we are with our ZVT on Ruins of Seras. Keep in mind, JunTae does not know exactly what CranK is, which explains what this SCV scout is for. Doesn't know if it's Protoss or another Terran or a Zerg. You really have to play differently depending on how things go here. Although, again, the 1 Rax expand is pretty safe regardless of what your opponent is, what race they are. So either way, the SCV is going to make it down to the bottom right side before too long and see that it's a Zerg player. It's a hatch first into a spawning pool and nothing really to worry about as far as early aggression goes from CranK. So we'll see if this is going to be a Reaper now. And he did see the Overlord, so he knows that he should make something. And there goes the Reaper. It has rallied the wrong direction, but I think that should be changed pretty darn soon, because, again, the SCV knows where the Zerg player is. Spawning pool is about 60% complete. There should be some Lings out here and a Queen just about by the time that Reaper shows up. There is an Extractor being taken now, a little bit late, which means speed won't be coming anytime soon, but that's okay. Again, slow Lings and Queens do pretty well at rebuffing those Reapers, depending on how the control for JunTae is. APM at this point is, woo, JunTae playing fast, man. 370 APM, spamming hard. CranK's around 80. But again, we know CranK is a great player. APM doesn't matter all that much as far as he is concerned, and he should be just fine. So here comes the Reaper, moving on out. Overlord scouting, gonna see exactly what's going on with the Terran base. Probably recognizes this as a 1 Rax expand, and nothing too crazy about any of that. And there goes the factory, the 111 build, Destiny Cloud Fist with the command center thrown in. So we probably need a new name for that, like Destiny Cloud Fist Punch or something. Here comes the Reaper, gonna pop on to this natural base, and there is actually a drone here. I was gonna say, most of the time, yep, gonna be made into a Spore Crawler. Most of the time, you don't actually saturate your natural when there's a Reaper coming, just because this happens. The Lings are going to chase that Reaper away back out onto the creep. Onto the creep, they are faster than the Reaper, but off of the creep, they're not. So they can be kited pretty much eternally. The Reaper, again, trying to do what it can. It doesn't have any kills somehow. Canceling that Spore Crawler, and here come the Queens. 2 Queens, stab, 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 and that's enough. 2 Queens shooting with the range that they have on that attack. Where is it? Range of 5. Good range. Absolutely. For those Queens. Reaper doesn't get any kills, but again, recognizes there are 2 Queens out, saw the saturation on that base, and there is speed coming on the way for JunTae. Meanwhile, the third part of Destiny Cloud Fist, which is the Starport, is on the way, as well as a Widow Mine. Interesting play. I haven't really seen Widow Mines be too huge in ZVTs as of late. I'm trying to think. Actually, there was a really good game between, who was that? Like a Demaga? Oh, I can't remember. It was an amazing ZVT on Ruins of Seras, though, and actually, Widow Mines did play a big part in that game. Did a lot of really great shots that actually hurt the Zerg player quite a bit. Reaper trying to kill this hatchery all by himself. Good luck with that. This Queen's probably going to try to stop you from doing that. I'm not sure if the DPS is enough to actually kill a hatchery that's building, and it's not. It's definitely not able to do that. But again, the lower on health this is when it pops, the easier it is for JunTae to do a small drop and kill it with some Marines or something. So I like this play from JunTae. It makes a lot of sense. CranK is getting his own Roach Warren. There it be. And a Liberator coming up from JunTae. So Liberator, Widowmine, Marines. Not going for the Hellions. Pretty much bypass those entirely, which is a little bit surprising, but at the same time, you know what? This is the Korean GM ladder, so who am I to question? Creep spread looking good. 3 creep tumors already. The Queen says, hey, I thought I shooed you off a long time ago. Kitty 8 charge does knock the Queen back. I love how her little antenna flail. They're like, oh, when that happens. The Reaper gonna do it again. So good. I really enjoy that a lot. And JunTae's making a Banshee too, so definitely harassment focused here in the early game. Speedlings though, take that sucker out. He explodes. I'm not sure if he had any kills at all, actually. CranK has a kill. That's a Reaper, but no one else. But JunTae hasn't killed anything else. So yep, Pretty good scout, but once again, not too much effectiveness of that Reaper. A Spore Crawler on the way. Spore Crawler here too. I'm not sure if he scouted that starport or... You know what? A Spore Crawler just makes sense though. It's good against drops. It's good against Banshees. It's good against Liberators. So again, 3 reasons to get Spore Crawlers against Terran, and 3 reasons to get them against Protoss. So definitely get Spore Crawlers in your Mineral Alliance Zerg if you don't know what's going on. Even if you do know what's going on, get them anyway. They will definitely pay for themselves. And then you will be a happy Zerg instead of a sad Zerg who lost all of his drones to a Liberator 3 minutes into the game. JunTae going for all the standard stuff. Marines, +1 armor, +1 attack, and stim. CranK, meanwhile, going for all the roaches and all the lings. Okay, more all the lings than all the roaches, and a lair. Going to try to hold any early aggression that there is here with roaches and lings and queens and spore crawlers. Pretty good composition, I would say. Here comes the Banshee. No cloak and no cloak in sight. Not planning on using those invisible Banshees to do his damage today as JunTae. And here we go, trying to poke on in, getting 1 worker immediately. But roaches, ravagers, can't do much against Banshees. The corrosive bile attack would actually work at taking them down pretty darn easily, but they're just so mobile and so fast. It doesn't really make any sense to do that. Just kind of run around with his ravagers and with his lings, dancing back and forth. Again, pretty impotent in the face of this Banshee. Queen, however, versus Banshee, pretty good. One-on-one, a Queen can't take down a Banshee, but once it gets to 2 Banshees or more, then there are problems. So here goes CranK saying, all right, you have a Banshee out. I'm going to force you away from my drones, make you chase me all the way here, and then go attack your front door. So we'll see how ready JunTae is for this. 2 Widow Mines. Does have a bunker full of Marines, a bunch more Marines back here. Liberators, tanks on the way. I'm not sure if the tanks will show up in time, because here we come. Running on up the lings first. Widow Mine shot does hit. Oh, a whole bunch of lings there. Corrosive Biles tossed on down. A bunch more lings end up dead to that second Widow Mine. Wow. Not nearly as many lings as he thought. Defender mode circles are here. Corrosive Biles, are they ready to kill the Liberators? No. Nope. CranK is not ready to go. He recognizes that was a bad situation there, especially with the 2 Liberators, a bunch of Marines. The Ravagers are forced to return on home, running for their lives as the Banshee tries to snipe them in the top of the head. Corrosive Bile saying, hey Banshee, come this way. I have a present for you. Lings are running around on the top side. Not sure exactly what they're all about, but more lings here. So the Widow Mines really paying for themselves there. It's 9 and 19 kills on these Widow Mines. That was a lot of dead Zerglings. Resources lost is 2,000 to 400. Wow, JunTae looking good in this early game. Creep spread continuing, though, to push across towards the Terran base. 3 bases here for the Zerg. 2 bases for the Terran. Banshee does have 8 kills. I think most of those are lings, maybe a couple Ravagers. Not entirely sure, but here comes that 3rd base landing. CranK should probably either take a 3rd base or really try to kill this 3rd of his own if he can. As a Zerg player myself, I generally try to... Oh, free mules. Yeah, try to just out-expand rather than try to kill that 3rd. It's a little bit more difficult to break a Terran who's playing so defensively, but all those lings finally died. That mule is very low on health, but he is living, and that's exactly all that he needs. Banshee here, trying to watch for additional creep tumors to pop out. I like this placement of that Banshee, and there's the 4th hatch. All right, so CranK is trying to out-expand his opponent. Not actually making any units here. Getting a Queen, getting Glial Reconstitution, getting 2 Evolution Chambers, floating quite a bit of money here, about 1,400 and 1,000. When it comes to minerals and gas, down 119 to 104 total supply. This is kind of interesting. Usually CranK is able to spend his money a little bit more efficiently than this, but so far, I'm not sure exactly what he is waiting for. Okay, there we go. 17 roaches. And now he's up 136 to 123. Never mind. We worried about him for no reason. Banshee can actually take down a morphing in hatchery if the Banshee gets there early enough, which she didn't this time. And that's okay. But still nothing to really deal with this Banshee. No Mutalisks, no Corruptors. The Queens, again, do a pretty good job. But there's really no reason to build a Spire just for a single Banshee, and I think that's what CranK recognizes. Coming in again here, floating on in with her Roto Blades, taking a shot from a Spore Crawler, bunch of shots from a Spore. The Queen still not moving to deal with this. Why is the army running back? That's so weird. Finally, the Queen gets some shots off, is up to 10 kills on that Banshee. 17 hit points remaining, but living to see another day. Whew, excuse my sniffles there. Still trying to overcome this bit of a cold or a sinus infection or something that I have. Is this Banshee back? Or the Queen kill it? Oh, Queen got it. Queen got the Banshee with 1 single kill to her name, getting a +1 missile and +1 carapace. So not planning on going into ultras, I don't think, anytime soon. 20 more roaches in production. CranK's basically maxed out here on Roach Ravager, so we'll see how this works out for him. Small group of Marines coming in, killing creep tumors. Excellent, excellent play. Do this with your Marines if they're just sitting at home. It's a little bit dangerous, but clearing out that creep can really help you in the long run, Terran players. Meanwhile, Terran player JunTae is getting +2/+2, as well as vehicle weapons, level 1, and more tanks. What's that tank count at? Tank count is at 5, so looking pretty fantastic from the Terran side perspective, but it's 157 to 200 total supply. CranK is ready to go. There is a drop here ready to kill too, but here come the Roaches and the Ravagers from the left side and the top side. We're going to try to zoom out and go for it here. And there he comes. Corrosive Biles being thrown down on top of tanks, on top of Liberators. Two taking out Liberators at the same time. Roaches and Ravagers getting a nice concave. The tank finally setting up into siege mode, trying to kill everything that it can. Does lose the siege tank there as well. And moving on up, here comes tank. Or CranK rather. Unfortunately for him, he did lose his base stack here to these Marines that were dropping, but in the meantime, he's inside the natural base. He is killing so many SCVs. SCVs being forced to fight for their lives. Never a good position. They die so darn quickly. Corrosive Bile landing on top of a bunch of those Marines. No! Dodged. Nice dodge there by JunTae. Supply depots are falling too, and a medevac gets taken down. Ravager count looking fairly low, but more and more Roaches are streaming across the map here. Really should try to take out that third base, and I think that's exactly what he's going to do. These guys picking up, boosting in, seeing where else they can cause trouble here. Gonna force a liftoff at the very least on this orbital command. It might actually end up dead, and it does, unless it gets repaired. Oh, the SCVs are trying to repair it, and they do manage to get it out of that red zone. The tanks, once again, are tanks shoving this army away. Coming up the ramp is CranK, though. He refuses to be shut down. Corrosive Bile taking down almost taking down a tank. There we go. A bunch of Marauders and Marines are dying. A drop back here with Marines trying to take down that lair for CranK. Is he going to be able to hold? Can he deal with it? The Queen trying to stab away at these guys, but doesn't have enough DPS to do it. Roaches coming on in at the last second. They do manage to clean up that attack. Meanwhile, Ravagers are forced back here. The tank count is up to 3. And the upgrades are +2/+2 for these Marines compared to +1/+1 for CranK. He's getting +2/+2 himself, but it won't be here for quite a while. And all the Ravagers are going to die. They're not running. Instead, they are getting crushed, and the Roaches return on home. Orbital command should be landed shortly here for JunTae. That is 130 to 99 total supply in favor of our Zerg player, who is continuing to get that +2/+2 upgrade. Small group of Marines and a Marauder here on the ground. 2 units get picked up and retreated, but the rest of them end up melting to the acid saliva. So 4-3 is being taken here by CranK, not replacing the one up here, instead choosing to expand toward his Terran opponent, which seems like a bit of a mistake. Resources lost at this point, 12,700 for CranK and 9,000 for JunTae. So again, CranK losing a lot, but again, that's what the Zerg player is all about, is losing units, bringing them back on in, remaxing, going for it again, recognizing your units are not as cost effective as Terrans, and just having to out-macro and outspend in order to get your win, which you can do thanks to injects mostly. Pushing in once more is CranK. Gonna send this Changeling in maybe to scout things out? No? No, JunTae's getting +3 infantry weapons, and Widowmine shot baited out by the Lings, and here come the Lings. Do they want to do this? Do they want to go to their deaths? Yeah, they die almost immediately, but the Roaches and the Ravagers have a nice concave here. Tanks are set up in siege position, and one tank ends up falling. Another one, too, to the Corrosive Bile. JunTae not really lifting his tanks that well. That's something that really sets apart GM from pro-level players, I think, is the ability to save the tanks from these Corrosive Biles. Another tank does end up falling. Is this base going to be lifted once again for the second time in the game? It is! Orbital command lifted again, but however, sneaky 4th base back here for JunTae is going to help him a lot in the situation. More workers are getting massacred here. CranK has killed 47 SCVs and lost 3 drones himself. So just massive damage done to the Terran economy. 58 to 29 total harvesters. Income a lot higher for the Zerg. Corrosive Bile being tossed on down. Not hitting much of anything there. Again, as I like to say, looks like somebody found this. A Roach found the base. A Roach found all these SCVs, going to try to kill them. More Corrosive Biles tossed on down. JunTae dodging quite ably as usual. Haven't done a whole ton of damage to the bio units using Corrosive Bile, but man, they have killed a large number of tanks. Anyway, as I was saying, as a Zerg player, you can't really get stuck on this Roach Ravager composition. It is good through the first 10-12 minutes of the game, but eventually as upgrades start to get better and better for the Terran, it causes problems to where you're just not as cost efficient. Even if you have +3/+3 and they have +3/+3, it feels like the Terran's going to win that battle. So again, don't fall in love with it. tech up to Broodlords, get Infestors, get Corruptors, get other things beside this Roach Ravager, or you might find yourself in trouble. However, CranK is so far ahead here, despite losing another queen, and a bunch more workers running for their lives. Spore Crawler might get this medevac. No, the medevac lives with 6 hit points remaining. Spine Crawler pops on up to try to deal with this, but look at this drone massacre. Just a sad position to be in. The entire drop does get killed. Roach, meanwhile, still killing stuff over here, preventing that from being landed. And CranK is going for a Baneling Nest. So to this point, JunTae's killed 20 workers of his own, but CranK is still at 58. This drop up here with a single Marine and a single Marauder saying, are you sure you want us to go in here and kill stuff? Because, I mean, there's a lot of other Marines and Marauders out there probably do a better job than us. Also, it's a really scary proposition. So I don't know, we'll see what they do indeed. So it's 3 base here to essentially 4 base. This 4th base is up and running. Despite losing a lot of drones, it was remaxed fairly easily by CranK. Again, has a bunch of money in the bank here. CranK's Bank, brought to you by Falcon Paladin. Yeah, I don't think CranK really wants to go up that ramp. It feels like maybe if he's able to starve JunTae out on 2 bases, that's what he's happy with. He really doesn't have much of a reason to do anything more than that. Here come the Marines, rocket in once more though. Catching a few roaches also. Losing a few units on the front lines themselves. Upgrades +2/+2, upgrades +3/+2. Not getting that 3rd armor upgrade is JunTae for some reason. More Marines, more Marauders, more tanks, but is he getting starved out is the question. Yes, he's getting mined out. His main is completely gone. Income tab shows 1,400 to 1,000 minerals, 50 to 22 harvesters in favor of CranK. And again, the mules are good, but it means you mine your bases out faster too. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. Was this able to be landed? No, this Roach is still hanging on to this command center. Alright, so CranK has a whole ton of Banelings. Getting +1 melee attack for them, getting centrifugal hooks for them, not quite there yet. That's okay. These guys finally got over their stage fright. They're going to take down the lair. Look at that. Believe in yourself, man. 1 Marine, 1 Marauder taking down an entire lair all by themselves. Oh, that hurts. Because now CranK has to get another lair and then morph it into a hive to get to hive tech. Nicely played indeed by JunTae. 4 kills and 2 kills on these 2 units. 3rd base up and running once again. Tank count looking pretty darn good. Also with +1 attack on those tanks. Is CranK going to go for it? He is. No, he was. Then he changed his mind. He took a step forward, took the tank shots and said, you know, I think we're good. This Marine is up to 5 kills now. He's a corporal. Look at him go. Believe in your dreams. Even if you're just a single little lowly Marine, you can make stuff happen. So JunTae is sticking on his 3 bases very strongly indeed. Banelings rolling, crushing on in here now into everything. The tanks are taking direct fire from the Roaches and the Ravagers. Marines, Marauders running back, but not really giving any support to the tanks. Excellent concave here from CranK. Corrosive Bile is being tossed on down. Medevac count is down to a total number of 3. Make that 0. No medevacs remaining. A big attack on the 3rd once again. I'm not sure if JunTae is even going to bother to lift it this time. He does just indeed lose the orbital command. All of those workers. Total workers killed by CranK is now 63 right here in the natural base. It is 158 to 45 total supplies. JunTae is holding on until the very bitter end here, but I just don't know what he can do. Is he going to float his command centers? JunTae, you're classier than this. Come on, man. Alright, well, all the SCVs retreating back to the safety of their main base, or rather just long-distance mining, kind of, but so many dead workers. 71 workers killed. Oh boy, refineries taking huge shots here too. And a 5th base up and running at the gold for CranK. JunTae has already scanned this one. And no, actually JunTae's landing his base here. The question is CranK going to go up this ramp? There are 2 tanks and a handful of Marines and Marauders. I feel like CranK can bust that with the Corrosive Bile especially, but are these guys... Oh man, our heroes, Marine and Marauder, buddy cop show. Taking out workers, taking down spine crawlers, taking out another base. Look at these dudes go. It's seriously like a 1970s buddy cop movie where it's like, all right, I'm a Marine and I'm a Marauder and we need to work together for the common good. And look at, jeez. So they're going to die, I think. 9 kills and 7 kills on these dudes. Pick up and run. Oh, they get evacuated at the last second. Nice evacuation by that medevac. Unloading, healing at this along a watchtower so they can see if anything is going to sneak up on them. Look at him using his units so well. And CranK is moving for the Ultralisk tech. Alrighty then. So Ultra tech on the way. Command center going to try to land over here, but guess what? They're Overlord pooping creep. Broach blocking this one. Oh no! Oh no, alive! Alive! Nicely done. Marauder and a Marine in a buddy cop movie for the ages. 9 kills, 7 kills. Wait, no, lift and run, lift and run. Oh no, the Marine died. The Marine died, and the Marauders left all alone after all those adventures we had together, and that's it. That breaks JunTae's heart to see his Marine and Marauder split apart like that at the very end. He rage quits out of sadness and misery, and CranK is victorious. Okay, so that was pretty good. Excellent job there by CranK. Once again, I just want to say, Ravager Roach generally doesn't work past the 12-13 minute mark against a Marine or a Terran player who knows what they're doing. But again, the discrepancy in supply was so heavy for CranK. His upgrades were good enough. Killing this third base really stunted JunTae's army growth, and he was able to do it anyway. But what really needs our players is at least Broodlords or Ultras or something with Infestors. Some tier 3 something to make it work. Vipers can be good too. Corruptors. Flying in there, getting rid of those medevacs are a super good use at the same time. But again, CranK made it work with his Ravager and Roach composition with some Banelings mixed in there too, and took the day. So that's it from me. This is Falcon Paladin coming to you with yet another daily Legacy of the Void upload. Thanks so much for watching. And as always, you can catch me on Twitter and Facebook, both /Falcon Paladin. Until next time, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.